Hey guys, Jim here with another video for you. This is 1982, the next installment in my 50 Years on Film series. However, before we begin, if you like this content, if you like this video, if you like my channel in general, please give me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, and most important of all, please leave comments below. Let me know how you feel about these films, how you feel about this series in general, and it will really help me improve the quality of these videos and give you more content that you'll enjoy. But we're going to go right into it like we always do. But before I begin, I just want to state that the summer of 1982, to me, is one of the greatest movie summers ever. These movies that I'm doing today are not in chronological order, so they came out throughout the year. But on your own time, just Google Summer 1982 for the films that came out between May and August. It's incredible. A lot of movies from that time I do not have on this list because I own them on other forms of media, including Fast Times at Ridgemont High, The Beastmaster, and I just blinked. But regardless, there's some great movies that are not included in this list. Okay, so let's jump right into it. And instead of starting with comedies like we always do, I figured it's 1982. We have to start with the elephant in the room, E.T. E.T. was a phenomenon when it came out. I thought that I had seen the zeitgeist at its height when Star Wars came out a couple of years earlier, 5 years earlier, actually. That didn't hold a candle to E.T. The lines around the block for this movie. And like Star Wars, it pretty much destroyed everything in its wake. But E.T. is a great movie. It's one of Spielberg's best. I know a lot of people through the years have, kind of turned on it a little bit. I still think it's a wonderful, wonderful movie. And it's an awesome way to start 1982. Okay, now we have a musical for you. The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, with Burt Reynolds and Dolly Parton. Charles Durning's also in this. He was nominated for Best Supporting Actor for this movie. Dom DeLuise, among others. I'm not really a musical guy. This isn't one of my favorite movies per se. I got this mainly for my wife, who is a huge Dolly Parton fan. But it is an entertaining movie. So that's The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Then we go to the most successful comedy of that year. And it's just the disc because it's part of a multi-set. Porky's. This movie has not aged well. A lot of people cannot stand this movie now, and I can understand why. Even at the time, it was pretty controversial. To me, the most controversial thing about this movie is the fact that all the teenagers, supposedly teenagers in this movie, all look like they're 35, but I'll always like Porky's. It's a silly, sophomoric, raunchy comedy from my childhood that I'll always have a warm spot for. Next, we have a very silly comedy. Steve Martin, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. This was directed by Carl Reiner, which the two of them teamed up many times, starting with The Jerk. They're going to have another one together next year, which I also have in my collection. The one collaboration of theirs I wish I had in my collection is All of Me, which came out in 1984, and it is not available on Blu-ray, and it really pisses me off because that is my favorite Steve Martin movie. But Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid is a lot of fun. And then we have the action comedy classic 48 Hours, directed by Walter Hill, starring Nick Nolte, and in his feature film debut, Eddie Murphy. And my God, I love this movie. These two are so good together. This was one of the first buddy cop type movies. This kind of started it, and there are other examples in this genre that are better than 48 Hours, but I will always love this movie. And then we have a comedy drama here, The World According to Garp, directed by George Roy Hill, starring Robin Williams, John Lithgow, And in her feature film debut, Glenn Close. And Glenn Close and John Lithgow were both nominated for Best Supporting Actor and Actress Oscars. They did not win that year. They should have. This is a awesome, wonderful movie. I absolutely love this movie. I am going to eventually have this on my 5 underrated, forgotten movies to check out. So we'll get more into it at that time. But I love Garp. It's a great movie. Now we're switching over to the dramas. Agatha Christie's Evil Under the Sun. This was the follow-up to Death on the Nile. There you can see it's got a great cast. Peter Ustinov reprised his role as Hercule Poirot. Peter Ustinov is the best Hercule Poirot in my mind. And this movie's not as good as Death on the Nile or Murder on the Orient Express for that matter, but it's still a decent movie. It's a slow burn, but if you like Agatha Christie, this is a good movie. Then we're switching over to the actions, and we have Class of 1984. I forgot to switch around the artwork on this one to give you the original one sheet, but this is kind of a B movie. It's about a teacher who goes into a really nasty school, and the kids basically run the school, and they push him too far, and eventually he strikes back. The highlight on this movie is Roddy McDowall. He's one of the teachers. He's great. And Michael J. Fox is a baby in this movie. This was before Family Ties, of course, and he looks like he's about 16 years old in this movie. Class of 1984 is a nice little underrated gem from the 80s you should check out. And then we got Bronson, Death Wish 2. The sequel to Death Wish, of course. This is a scuzzy movie. It really is. It's a scuzzy movie, but you know what? I like it. It's Charles Bronson, you know, so of course I like this movie, but you watch this movie and you need to take a shower afterwards. It's pretty scuzzy, but Bronson's doing what Bronson does best, blowing away bad guys, and he does a lot of it in that one. This one I recorded on my 10 movies I love that, you know, people would consider bad. I don't consider this movie bad. It's a B movie, but yeah, The Soldier is awesome. With Ken Wall. And a very small part from Klaus Kinski, but this movie's a lot of fun. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. But it's a lot of fun. It's a solid spy action thriller. Excuse me, I don't know if this is still in print or not, but yeah, I love The Soldier. Next, this is part of a double feature disc, but we are focusing on Clint Eastwood in Firefox. In this, he plays a Vietnam vet with PTSD who can speak fluent Russian, and they fly him into Russia in the height of the Cold War to steal a top secret airplane. Not the best movie, but it's, you know, it's Clint Eastwood, so. I got this mainly for Heartbreak Ridge. We'll get to that one in a couple of years. And again, this is just a disc because it's part of a set, but First Blood with Sylvester Stallone is definitely one of his best movies, and it's my favorite from the entire Rambo series. This is the only one of the movies that has even a hint of believability and grounded in some sense of reality. I do enjoy the other movies, don't get me wrong, okay? Rambo 2 and 3, and especially just Rambo, which would be the fourth one, those are basically cartoons. This movie does have a shred of grounded reality to it, and the monologue at the end of this movie is still the best acting Stallone has ever done on screen. He is wonderful in that part. He's wonderful in the whole movie, but in that scene in particular, he's incredible. I love First Blood. Now we're switching over to the fantasy realm. And to me, the greatest fantasy movie of all time, Conan the Barbarian. the original. I know Arrow just came out with a new deluxe version with all the bells and whistles, which if by some divine miracle I'm able to come up with some money, I will get. But for right now, I am happy with this copy because Conan is still my favorite Schwarzenegger movie of all time. I absolutely love this movie. It's got what I think is the greatest musical score ever. If the score in this movie does not get your blood pumping, you're already dead. This movie is incredible. I love it to death. And released about 3 weeks before Conan, which a lot of people call this a Conan ripoff, although it's really not, okay? The Sword and the Sorcerer. This movie is so much fun. Conan is definitely the better movie, okay? I mean, there's no comparison between the two. But this movie it's so much fun. And about a month after Conan came out, The Beastmaster came out. So it was like, that was the sword and sandals summer for that part. But in addition to Conan, like I said, Sword and the Sorcerer is just an awesome, awesome movie. Check it out if you haven't. This is on Scream Factory. And then we've got a couple of goofy movies. I didn't really know where to put these, so we're just going to put them in their own category. Wes Craven's Swamp Thing. This is not a good movie, but I have a lot of fun with this movie. And I absolutely love Adrienne Barbeau. So, yeah, Swamp Thing, I guess you would call it a guilty pleasure. And definitely another guilty pleasure, Larry Cohen's Q, the Winged Serpent. Again, this is not a good movie, but it's a great movie. If you're in the right frame of mind, this movie is a lot of fun. It's definitely a B movie. It's got stop motion effects, which is kind of refreshing, you know, especially with all the CG effects these days. But yeah, this it's a lot of fun. Now we're getting into the sci-fi. 82 had some incredible sci-fi movies. How about Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan? What I feel is still the best Star Trek movie ever. It's incredible. Ricardo Montalban is iconic. And this movie was a huge, huge hit, which led the way to the other sequels. There's 10 of the original movies between the two TV casts. Without a doubt, Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan is the best out of all those movies, and it's not even close. It's a great movie. How about this for a great sci-fi movie? Blade Runner. This movie was not successful when it came out. It was pretty much a flop. The reviews were mixed. And quite frankly, when I saw it that summer, I didn't like it either. I was confused by it. I didn't get it. I was expecting something along the lines of Star Wars, and God knows Blade Runner is not Star Wars. But then years later, I watched it again and realized what this movie is actually about. And it's incredible. It is absolutely incredible. Now sci-fi, this isn't so incredible. Forbidden World. Although that is an incredible steelbook, I do enjoy that steelbook quite a bit. But my God, this movie's a piece of shit. It's an Alien ripoff. It's a piece of crap. So, but again, I love the steelbook. Okay, now we're venturing into the horror, guys. They're here. Poltergeist. Written and produced by Steven Spielberg and directed by Tobe Hooper. I know a lot of people say Steven Spielberg directed this movie because it feels like a Steven Spielberg movie. Of course it feels like a Steven Spielberg movie. He wrote the script and he was there on set every day as a hands-on producer. But even he has gone on record saying that he did not direct a single frame of this movie. And quite frankly, Poltergeist is one of the few PG movies that scared the crap out of me when I saw it. It is such a great, great movie. It is horrible what happened to Heather O'Rourke and Dominique Swain, who played the sisters in this movie. It's just, it's a tragedy on both fronts. But Poltergeist is still one of the greatest ghost movies of all time. This ghost story, however, is not. The House Where Evil Dwells. I covered this on Why Do I Own These Movies? And again, it's not as bad as Ghost Warrior. The Ghost Warrior was the main reason why I included this disc on that video. But House Where Evil Dwells is not good. It's entertaining, okay? It's an entertaining B movie, but it's definitely not a good movie. Okay, now we're getting into some slashers. Alone in the Dark. That's the original. Again, entertaining B movie. The best thing about this movie, and now I can't get the thing back in there, but that's okay. The best thing about this movie is the cast. Jack Palance, Donald Pleasance, Martin Landau, the Dynamo from Running Man's in this. And basically they're all killers that escape in Nut House and go on the rampage. And it's a fun movie. It's not going to win any awards. It's a fun movie. Another slasher, and this is part of another double feature pack, but this time we are talking about Visiting Hours. Again, okay movie, not the best. I got this disc for the other movie on it. Oop, sorry. That's the other movie on it. Visiting Hours has got a decent cast, and Michael Ironside is definitely creepy, is the killer. I mean, he's creepy and everything, but Visiting Hours, standard slasher. Nothing special. Got another steelbook for you. If I can open it. The Slumber Party Massacre. This movie is better than the title implies because it knows exactly what it is and it's very tongue-in-cheek. And it's fun. Again, it's not going to win any awards, but it's fun. And the last slasher on the list, but we saved it for last for a reason. Friday the 13th, Part 3 in 3D. Right before this movie came out, there was a movie called Parasite with Demi Moore. Horrible movie, but it came out in 3D. And it kind of started to relaunch the whole 3D craze from the 50s with the cardboard glasses with the red and blue lenses. And Friday the 13th 3 came out in 3D in 82. And then in 1983, a bunch of movies came out in 3D. Jaws 3D, Spy Hunter. There was quite a few. Friday the 13th 3D is actually the best out of those 3D movies at the time. It's not a great movie, okay? I actually don't even like this movie that much compared to the other Friday the 13th movies. But I do have fond memories because I did see this in 3D, and the 3D in the theater was great. And this is also the movie that Jason gets the iconic mask. So those are the two best things about Friday the 13th Part 3. I know a lot of people love this movie. I don't like it. And then we've got Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. This is not a slasher movie, and that pissed off just about everybody in America at the time because they were expecting Michael Myers, and instead they got a crazy Irishman who was making killer masks from Stonehenge and planning on killing all the kids in the world. But you know what? I'll take this over anything that came afterwards in the Halloween franchise, including the reboots, including the Rob Zombie movies. This movie is entertaining as hell. Got another B movie, The Beast Within. The kid who turns into a giant cicada. This movie is not very good. However, the transformation scene is. The finished product is ridiculous, but the transformation scene itself is really well done, and it still holds up. Then we've got Paul Schrader's Cat People with Malcolm McDowell, Natasha Kinski. This is a erotic thriller, I guess, although it is considered a horror movie. It's weird, but it's really cool, and it's got a great performance from Malcolm McDowell. He is creepy as hell in this movie. And then we've got one of my favorite movies of ever, Creepshow. I absolutely love Creepshow. Sorry, I'm trying to get that's the original artwork right there. My best friend had this poster in his room for years. I was so jealous. But Creepshow is an awesome movie. It is so entertaining. And I truly believe that the Tales from the Crypt TV show never would have existed without this movie. It's so much fun. It's one of my favorite Stephen King movies. It's one of my favorite George Romero movies. It's a great, great, great movie. But you know what I saved for last. John Carpenter's The Thing. There's the original one sheet. The Thing is my favorite horror movie ever. I stated that before. I'll state it again. It's my favorite horror movie ever. My father, who passed away 20-odd years ago, but he took me to see this because he remembered the original one from the 50s. So he took me and my friend Rob to go see this movie. And this movie was a flop because, like I said earlier in this video, E.T. basically destroyed everything in its wake. People had just seen a cute and cuddly alien. The last thing they wanted to see was this grotesque alien in this movie. And this movie is dark. And it was shocking at the time how gruesome this movie got. But The Thing is a masterpiece on so many levels. Even if you took the gore out of it, it would still be a masterpiece. I have never seen a movie about paranoia more effective than The Thing. This movie's incredible. It will hold up for another 100 years. And it's an incredible way to end this incredible year at the movies. So I hope you enjoyed this. I will be running a 1983 one within the next couple of days. I'm going to speed these up a little bit. But again, let me know how you feel about this series, how you feel about this video, how you feel about these movies. And I look forward to hearing from you. So until the next time, guys, have a great day.